Speaking of lunatics, who are selling a narrative and ice skating uphill, and at this point, not even convincing the dude who just had to take a loan out on a house he doesn't even own, that belongs to a charity that he started, a nonprofit called the Rule of Law, to fight the rule of law. It's the Freedom Caucasians.
We've got two. We started with a firebrand, Rabbi Sparrow. Let's start with how this thing is being portrayed today by the official consensus.
Yes, this is the January 6th, their little powwow. She's very upset. Whoops, hold on. Done, quit. She's very upset. He knows this is sales. This is genuine emotion. This may end with both of them, her putting both of them in a headlock. We don't know.
I mean, the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden speeches. Let me be.
By the way, this is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I live stream every day, and when I encounter clips like this, posted by Steve Bannon, posted by Mike Pillow, the full thing, I go through the whole clip. I don't just take a piece out of it. I don't decontextualize stuff and dunk on people. I use what they post. Yeah, that's right. I don't edit it later, and I do it live on the fly. Let's do it.
Blunt. They are illegitimate. Trump
Thanks,
won.
Catherine.
We're not going to stop 1 second, okay, in every state that we're going to decertify this election. That's what everybody understand. And it's outrageous, outrageous, outrageous. The honored dead of Pearl Harbor, the honored dead of 9/11, that they would try to connect it to that. This shows you how weak that. This is a guy that's down by 5 points.
They attacked the Capitol. That's why they associate it with 9/11. It was a political attack on the country. Pearl Harbor was a political attack on the country. 9/11 was a political attack on the country. Attacking the Capitol, beating police officers because they are in the way of you hanging the vice president because he's not going to decertify the election, hand it back to the states so that they can nullify their own voters' choices, install people, and then force a vote in the House. So because there are more states represented by congressional Republicans than there are congressional Republicans representing human beings in those states, basically Senatizing the House. That's why the comparison. It's a simple comparison. Just because it sucked, just because it was completely, ultimately inconsequential, just because it was a giant, violent circle jerk amounting to nothing, because it was sound and fury resulting in, a group diarrhea from a bunch of deluded maniacs, doesn't mean it started out as terrorism, and it wasn't a desire to make it a terrorist insurrection.
To Trump right now, across real color politics, polling, the polling about right now about approval and about people that think he's illegitimate, 40% of the American people. In the poll, Axios poll, 40% of the American people. But if you look at independents, it's getting over 50%. No, he's illegitimate, and this regime's illegitimate. I'll turn it over. Let's start with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll go to Matt Gaetz.
I'd like to first talk about what President Biden said when he talked about the darkest days leading to light and hope. I was so appalled at that because I truly feel like the darkest days in America have been over this past year and a half. It's been horrific.
Yeah, the darkest days. I mean, the rescue package, the infrastructure bill, the increases in jobs, the 1 million added jobs, the fastest recovery in American history, that getting people vaccinated to such an extent that even though cases are up, deaths and hospital rates are down, how are we supposed to cull the herd of our society if Biden's actually successful in getting people vaccinated? What the world? How is it? It's the darkest days. We're out of Afghanistan. The darkest, the light, the hope was truly in us staying in Afghanistan for fucking ever.
Right now in America, darkest days, you want to talk about what that means? That means that our jobs have been sold out to foreign countries. Our borders are...
Hold on. Our jobs were sold out to foreign countries. There has never been a faster stampede of factory growth, I mean, since post-World War II than now. We go over this all the fucking time on this show. And I know that there's tons of folks on here, if I may, that are... that, let's see. Let's just go with chip factories in Arizona. That's a good one. I mean, we did battery factories in Tennessee and that stuff. Not that these folks actually give a shit about genuine Americans and genuine American jobs. Let's see. Now there's, here you go. Here you go. This was just on my birthday. Intel breaks ground on a $20 billion Arizona chip plant in battle with TSMC. TSMC is the Taiwan superconductor manufacturing company. U.S. fabs will add capacity and bid to lure customers from Taiwanese rival, who is also building a chip-making plant in Arizona. Is this not... Sorry, kids. Is this from... Did we just start using fucking chips in everything? In the last 8 months? In the last 10 months? Did computers just become a thing this year? Is it where everybody's investing? Oh man, just around the corner there'll be a day when we finally start using these things. Trust me, it's worth it. They're adding 3 chip manufacturing plants in Arizona alone. Do you think Marge knows about that? You think Marge gives a shit? You think Marge celebrates those very things? How about this? This is going to bum out Marge. If she knows about it, which I don't think she does. Electric car company opening up a $5 billion manufacturing plant in Georgia. No, you don't think? You think Marge, that job? Those are the jobs that are getting outsourced to the rest of the world. How about 1 second? Where is? You mean, here you go. This picture I could find. Q-Cell solar panel covers the parking lot of the factory where 700 employees and visitors work. This facility is located in Dalton, a city in northwest Georgia, about 75 miles from Atlanta. This is up near where she is. Reminder, 700 people work there, make their livings there. Their families live off the money they make there. That's not outsourced. These aren't solar panels made in China that are cheap and blah, 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 that damage and danger and blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, but our jobs are going to China. Shit, like talking points from 2007. Next.
Invaded. Families are being ripped and torn apart because of...
Hold on. The border is being invaded. That was her other one. Families are being ripped and torn apart because what?
Appalling attack on our culture and our religious values that build our traditional family values. You know what darkest days are?
Like what? Name drop one of those values. Charity, goodness, kindness, love, respect, love thy neighbor. Any of that stuff come up? Sharing is caring, stranger danger, something. Just flip through the children's book that is your brain.
Darkest days are when you discriminate against Americans who choose to make decisions based on their own health and how they feel what should be done with their bodies in behalf of their children, but they're being fired from their jobs. There's ridiculous COVID passports and mandates being put in place, making it impossible.
That, first of all, the COVID passports that are being used in cities are the purview of mayors because the federal government does not have a tyrannical control over the country. It's exactly the opposite of their bullshit talking point. When de Blasio institutes a rule like that, it is not coming from the federal level or the direction of the Biden administration at all. And there is no vaccine mandate for these businesses. They have a testing mandate. You can either get vaccinated or you can get tested once a week. And you can keep at this testing for, 6 months until the wave passes and they go, no longer necessary. We're now in the endemic phase or whatever comes from it. People got to be trapped in a fucking building with you. They know that you're not going to breathe an infectious disease on them. Especially if we don't know if there's going to be a variant that comes out that will be worse all of a sudden right about the time you're like, fuck it. I mean, these are the folks who believe that this was a bioweapon, that China sent a bioweapon to kill us all, to wipe out a big chunk of the world or something. That's why China has a zero policy about it, because they view it as a much bigger danger, right? That's the theory from these folks. So let's say you're right. Let's play their game and say China sent a bioweapon. Do you send the worst version of the bioweapon right away when you're doing it this way? Or do you send a lighter version of it and then you wait until people are like, I don't think it's anything. It's just nothing or whatever. And then you send the worst version, and that's when everybody's over wearing masks and all that kind of stuff. And then it just kills everybody hand over fist, or they think they're through it. So they relax and they're psychologically opposed to any of the lockdown procedures that saved their lives in the first place. And the second wave wipes them out. Any military strategists out there want to think about that for a fucking second? That these guys might be the ones that go, it's over. Put down your guns, guys. It's time to party. I don't know. I think I hear marching coming over the hill. No. You're being paranoid.
People to function in life. Those are darkest days. Darkest days are when truth is cast out and people are kicked off of social media platforms, and when a private...
Yes, the darkest days. Forget what your grandparents went through in the Battle of the Bulge. Forget what the Dust Bowl... Forget, us kids who grew up during the Cold War hiding under our desks because a nuke might be landing. Yeah. No. What's the darkest days are when she gets kicked off of one of dozens of social media sites.
Corporation declares itself bigger than the government of the country that it exists in, and gave it freedom to be able to create such a platform. Those are darkest days. These are the...
Hold on, wait. The freedom to kick you off declares it's bigger than the government? Whoa. Okay, first of all, she still got her government Twitter handle. She has 2 accounts. She only lost 1. She still has her, Rep Greene, whatever the fuck that is, 1. She lost her personal account for violations on her personal account. So even in her stupid analogy, the government isn't doing that. Secondly, what kind of conservatism is this? Look, we've got a couple of folks, clamoring about communism and hippie stuff because of my hair in the chat room. Explain your fucking self. Explain how what she's asking for, which is for the government to be able to force private companies to give accounts and carry the messages of government employees, elected people, and I guess bureaucrats as well. The government is able to force a company against its will to carry the words and messages of a government entity. Where the slippery slope to fucking communism comes that direction. What fucking hell? Does she not even grasp what she's asking? She is asking for the federal government, not like local, okay, if you want to use Twitter in the city limits, it's got to do certain stuff. She's talking about the federal government being able to force companies to give elected officials and government entities accounts and forcibly carry a government message. That's the conservative point of view right now. That's what you guys are fighting for. That's what Republicans and the MAGA movement is fighting for. The federal government to be able to force private companies to violate their own free speech rules. Because the government must carry these accounts. They must carry an account for the president. They must carry an account for elected representatives. And if they don't, they can be shut down or they're un-American. What the hell is this? How the fuck is that not? Yeah, we're the communists.
Darkest days right now, and the only way to lead our country into light and hope is to embrace God, who created everything that we know, but then to go further than that, to defeat this fascism that exists in control and power in our country. Amen. Defeat communism and stop.
What was he amening about? You can tell when some of these assholes get really desperate. It's like they start peaking the pious meter. They start referencing, ever since Steve Bannon has gotten in deeper and deeper shit, he starts, falling back into the religious corner and using little religious jargon, because that's what amen and his references to God are about. They're not about a genuine belief in that. They are jargon meant to trigger the cerebral cortex of the truly devout and make them believe he's on their side. I'm with you. Get him. That's what that is.
This unbelievable attack on our freedoms, on our Constitution, and that.
What attack? It's an attack on your freedoms and your Constitution to not be allowed to have a Twitter account because you violated their terms of service?
What we're doing today, Steve.
Matt Gaetz.
When you watch Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, when you watch legacy media, there's a part of you that just thinks how pathetic they are. How
is it really? Because I that's not what I'm supposed to think here. Like, for example, you guys aren't taking calls or referencing video. Like, I have earbuds in so that I can hear the audio and it doesn't feed back into the microphone I'm using. So that's why I have headphones in on this thing. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. Are you DJing a birthday party? What do you think? You're calling a football game? Notice how the legacy media has lavalier microphones and don't pretend that they're London line 2. What are you fucking Don Imus? Legacy media?
foolish this all is, as the American people are actually going through deprivations of liberty, economic struggles, humiliation abroad, that they...
Sorry, we're losing our liberties. He's again referencing his their lack of Twitter accounts in some cases because because of their lack of vocabulary. You know how many people, like, oh, these conservatives are being kicked off. Like, meanwhile, none of these fucking bigger conservative channels get kicked off. Daily Wire's still on. Fucking Ben Shapiro and his whole crowd, or all of his followers, are still on. They don't get cut off until they either call for violence or directly violate the terms of service by going, you should, maybe if you put your mouth right up to a horse's ass and take a big puff off that, that'll cure it. I don't even know what this vaccine shit's about. Like, their inability to even articulate their ideas without certain buzzwords that will violate the terms of service is about their ignorance, not the ideas themselves. And the vast majority of conservatives have no fucking problem being on any of these sites. Talking about actual, tax policy, the point of government. These guys get kicked off, though, not because of what they're saying, but largely how they're saying it. Because they're fucking dumb. Because she's got Tom Leykis, right? Which one's Tom Leykis? This is a good freeze frame, by the way. The derp is strong with this one.
Need January 6th so bad that they
Oh, yeah. That was a phlegm gurgle right there. Somebody fighting the gunk too?
how foolish this all is as the American people are actually going through deprivations of liberty, economic struggles, humiliation abroad, that they need January 6th so bad.
Oh, that was a mucus crawl. Fucking hell. Yep, he's got the gunk. And look at her. She's like, motherfucker, I am not vaccinated. Son of a bitch. Do not cough that gooey shit on me. Oh my God. Why is nobody help me, Lord Jesus? Pray this disgusting phlegm away from me. He's gonna loogie right in my lap again.
They
I
have to obsess about
son of a
it.
bitch.
But then your blood just boils when they draw the comparisons to 9/11, to Pearl Harbor.
They just got, oh wow, he's got the fucking full DeSantis. He's got the chest shiver and everything. He's fighting a cough. Listen to that.
Humiliation abroad, that they need January 6th so bad that they have to obsess about it. But then your blood just boils when they draw the comparisons to 9/11, to
The comparisons. Yeah, this is the same shit that DeSantis had. She's like, did y'all hear that too? Has he got a bad case of the phlegmy Katharine Hepburns?
Harbor.
You represent Pensacola.
We have a thing in my family where my kid, when he's laying on the floor, I'll go over and I'll push lightly on his chest, like shake his chest, like do like this, and then I'll feed him lines from On Golden Pond. I love you, you old poop. Like that. He just thinks it's so funny. And he's never seen the movie. But I just feed him Katharine Hepburn lines and shake him. And the boy, he's talk like this. And he thinks it's so funny. And he's like, give me more lines. She's like, can I switch seats with you before this fucker gobs all over my lap?
One of the greatest naval stations in the place that trains every Navy pilot. And Pearl Harbor was about getting to the aircraft carriers, but they weren't there to the battleships. Representing...
Pearl Harbor was important. The nation's capital, not so much. The fuck kind of argument is that?
District that trains naval aviators. What is that? What is that? When he goes back and relates what happened on 6 January to Pearl Harbor and the honored dead on the Arizona?
It's a...
What do you mean the honored dead on the Arizona? Yes, they were attacks on our system of government. Sorry, do you think the Japanese were just there because they wanted a body count? Or because they wanted to stop the United States from existing?
Especially searing to think how much damage the Biden-Harris regime has done to our military. You know,
regime. How much damage they've done. Yeah, with their re-upping of the $768 billion budget for the year. By the way, Obama signed the VA Choice Act of 2014, the thing that Trump continues to claim credit for. Obama signed that. That was law before Trump took office for 2 years. Not like days before. Not like, oh, they passed it and he got to sign it. No.
For them to have the nerve to invoke the military dead on a day like this shows...
The fuck? They're not... Dude, people attacked our Capitol. I mean, they work in the building and they have no respect for it.
How totally just, I think, devoid they are from the true American patriotic experience. And I think on this day in particular...
What's that? And by the way, Matt, how much is the true American patriotic experience? Is it extra, or is it part of the freedom tour you guys are doing together? Is it kind of like the meet and grope, and then there's the next level?
It has to draw us into sharper focus about what we do about it. This has to be a platform for action. And I am so grateful to be sitting here with an inspirational Congresswoman Marjorie.
That's right. I'm so glad to be here, not just talking, taking action by talking. This is a time for more than just talk and wearing headphones and sitting in front of a microphone, in front of a big, dumb, overly macho bullshit insignia. You know what I mean? Those days are done.
Taylor Greene,
Amen.
We're here. We're in Washington. Democrats wanted to seize this day. They want to own this day.
You guys, we wanted to seize it. Motherfucker, you assholes tried to seize the actual Capitol.
They want to use it as a political.
They're trying to seize it by not seizing it. See, that's the 5D chess that Democrats play. See, they dressed up. They're in Antifa and BLM dressed up as maggots and voted for Trump twice and gained a bunch of weight and got diabetes and bought camo and stocked ammo and built fucking pipe bombs and all this stuff in a clever attempt to entice us into attacking the Capitol, which we didn't want to do. But while you're since somebody's doing it, we might as well join the fuck in, right? And then they coaxed us into actually seizing this day, and now they're trying to seize it by not seizing it. See, they're not seizing it. And now we've got to not seize it back.
Joel, not just against Republicans in Congress, but against a patriotic, pro-America, God-fearing America First movement all over this great land. And that's what we're not going to.
And by the way, lovely phrases all stitched together in kind of a Franken pile of bullshit, saying absolutely nothing.
Out to have happen. Three things always come out if you give it time: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And we're here to get to the truth behind January 6th, the federal government's own involvement with.
You're scaring Steve now. Steve Bannon is currently involved in a legal battle, taking loans out on property he does not own to pay legal bills to make sure that the truth doesn't come out. You do realize you're talking to a man right now that is avoiding testifying. Right? No? That does... know your audience, Matt.
And the evidence continues to come out. And that's what they're really afraid of. They're afraid that all that they're doing to turn the power of this regime against our fellow Americans is being exposed. And there's a lot.
Yeah, the regime. It's a regime. It's totally a regime. This isn't a Russian fucking talking point calling the U.S. government a fucking regime. Good Lord.
That coming today.
We got about a minute before we go to break. What else are you guys doing today? You two are here. I don't know. Are there any other?
Yeah, there's action. What other actions are you taking today? What's your day of action like? Where are you going on this day of action?
Republicans in town, or where is everybody?
The traditional thinking among Republicans is hide under your bed for the day and hope that the day passes without us being too ashamed.
Oh, really? That's what we do every year on January 6th, since this is the first fucking January 6th since the actual January 6th? Have you guys just been hiding under your bed every fucking day?
Ourselves. We're ashamed of nothing.
Seize the day.
Yes. Dude, that was the fucking problem in the first place. No, don't seize the day. You tried to seize the day. It was a day of seizing, stupid.
The work that we did on January 6th to make legitimate arguments about election integrity. So we're going to make...
Yeah, actions. What actions are we taking? We're going to make legitimate arguments on the day of our actions, like we're doing right now. It's action, not words. And that my action is words.
Arguments today in a press conference at 2:15. And we're actually...
Wait a minute. A press conference? I didn't realize they were really getting a shovel and going to work. Really? You're not gonna get together with your staff and craft a bill or present a bill today that you've been working on for months? You're gonna do a press conference? They did a press conference. We didn't cover it, but I guess we could, but yawn.
Walk the grounds that patriotic Americans walked from the White House to the Capitol who had no intention of attacking it, but then thought, hey, fuck it, we're here. Might as well hang Mike Pence. You got some wood? Yes, I have exactly the amount of wood to build a gallows. What luck? How do we build one? Fuck it, we don't need a plan. I could just Google it. That's a great idea. It's so weird that you brought exactly the right gallows recipe. Yeah, no. No plan whatsoever.
We didn't intend to run up there. Antifa talked us into it.
Breaking the law or doing violence, and many of them were trapped, and the people involved in trapping them have
Yes, it was entrapment, kind of like what Joel Greenberg's going through.
been held to account, and that's what we're here to bring to the forefront.
At 2:15.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Did somebody jump in? What happened?
That patriotic Americans walked from the White House to the Capitol who had no intent of breaking the law or doing violence, and many of them were trapped, and the people involved in trapping them have not been held to account, and that's what we're here to bring to the forefront.
At 2:15, where's the press conference?
We have a very important press conference. That's going to be inside what the
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so we're in a time when people are all talk, we're gonna do a press conference. We're doing a press conference. This is
that in?
We're going to be in the Cannon building, and we're going to be broadcasting on Right Side Broadcasting.
Everyone needs to tune in. We'll be.
Oh my God, not Right Side. You can't tell Real America's Voice you're going to be on RSBN. That literally is the same slice of pie they're fighting for.
Walking the grounds later on this morning and around noon.
Walk the grounds, and then then a press conference at 2:15.
Right.
Are you you're gonna walk the grounds? Really? I'm sorry. Are you on patrol duty now? Are they gonna give you one of those sticks with a nail on the end of it so you can pick up garbage? Walk the fucking grounds. Still the Capitol. I guess our attempted coup was a complete shitstorm.
Here's the important thing today. This is why I'm so grateful for my friend Gaetz. We're here in Washington because we aren't afraid to say we support President Trump. This is what happened on January 6th. We want to ask the real question. The January 6th committee is.
You're in D.C. because you're elected. Not fucking tourists who decide to come in on this day, dum-dum. You work there. We're in Washington, D.C. largely because it's an easier commute.
Too weak and cowardice to ask, and it goes against their whole lie anyways.
Yeah, they're too weak and cowardice to ask. You mean cowardly? All right.
Tucker Carlson went even harder than MTG. He says Ted Cruz was using left-wing talking points right there. Is anybody? You're a lawyer, and you're a pretty good lawyer, pretty good trial lawyer.
Again, is he just fucking with you now? Hold on. He's a trial lawyer, and he's a pretty good trial lawyer. Is he, Steve? Steve, is he a pretty good trial? He's a lawyer, and he's a pretty good trial lawyer. Is he good? He's pretty great at his job, is he? He's just great at it. He's just so good. No? Are you just getting back at him for him bringing up RSBN? This just fucking happened in October. This isn't some from 2 years ago, asshole. This is current. This is the current state. Dum-dum. Look at the look on his face. You fucker. You fucker. You're a pretty good trial lawyer. You're great. You've never had a trial. You've never actually tried a case.
Has anybody been charged with insurrection? Has anybody been charged with sedition? Has anybody been charged with anything except trying to stop a public hearing or a government official, a government proceeding?
No, it sort of looked like that was vote your conscience.
Has anybody been charged with any? Let's see. Has anyone been charged? Let's see. Did they use insurrection? Is this the new collusion argument? Is this what we're doing? Let's see. Let's see. 720 people have been arrested. There you go. Let's feel it. Capitol siege. Here we go. 725. Let's see. Oh, come on. I have the list. Where's our old list? Yeah, 2,000 to 2,500 people actually entered the Capitol building. Only 727 have been charged, meaning that they're letting a bunch of the other people walk. So when they say these people were trapped and they didn't do anything wrong, they're just getting a fucking fine for, picketing in the wrong place or without a permit. The same shit you get when you do a sit-in the Capitol. A lot of those folks are being charged with that. But the people who took a shit in the place or stole things or beat cops or broke windows or attacked police officers, those fuckers are going to jail or in jail. Here, wait. I'll find the actual list. I thought that was the other link. Give me 1 second. There we go. There you go. Parading, demonstrating, picketing, Capitol building. Other charges dismissed. She was the one who said on her phone, "We're going to shoot Nancy Pelosi in the friggin' brain." She got released on her own recognizance, even though she was on tape saying she's going to do this because she didn't actually have a gun. It ended up being bullshit, like everything else. There we go. Let's see. These are the charges. There you go. Guilty 1 charge, obstruction of an official proceeding. They're letting tons of these folks go. These are the victims of the Biden regime who's jailing people and stealing their freedoms. 2 felony charges: obstruction of official proceeding, assaulting certain officers. This is this dude, Scott Fairlamb. His sentence was the longest of the 32 sentences issued up to that point. He pled guilty to assaulting a Capitol police officer along with Devlin D. Thompson. There we go. 1 and 2 police. Guilty obstruction of official proceedings. The charges. They're letting people off so that basically it's reconciliation charging. There we go. Guilty 1 charge, interstate communication of threats. It's making terrorist threats. No. Parading, demonstrating in the Capitol. Other charges dismissed. These are people who are just walking around and waving shit. Let's see. Entered the grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon. He had bear spray. Let's see. No official announcement is made. The band. This is the dude Iced Earth who got the lead singer of Iced Earth who got charged. Carrying the Confederate battle flag dude. He didn't get charged with anything. I don't know what the fuck they're bitching about. Parading in the Capitol. Let's see. Assaulting certain police officers using a dangerous weapon. First participant plead guilty. Oh, this is Devlin Thompson's buddy, Scott Fairlamb. 46 months in prison. I don't know which rules are these? Are these the people who've been discharged? Wait, hold on. Because that's not the whole list of charges. Where is it? Change the capital. Okay. This was the insiders one. Okay, here we go. This is a great table, by the way. Really good graphics. Are they just not keeping up on what's happening? Okay, let's do what Jody do. Oh, it's an entire list, the PDF of the entire thing. Look at that. This is, oh, I see. It's their entire... willfully knowing engaged in disorderly conduct, disruptive conduct within the United States Capitol grounds and Capitol buildings with the intent to impede, disrupt, or disturb the orderly conduct of session of Congress in either house, orderly conduct in that building appearing before the deliberation of the Committee of Congress and whatever. Like the specific charges on this. So they didn't call it insurrection. It's not collusion. All we did was play footsie. Right. Anyways, you can go through and look at all of those.
It's Ted Cruz. You know, I mean, Lion Ted should know that the establishment.
That's back from the convention.
Yeah. I mean, I liked fighting Ted a lot more than I liked vote your conscience Ted. But
I mean, I usually don't interrupt. Look at them all shitting on Ted Cruz. Please continue.
This is Lion Ted lying down.
Oh, old dogs don't learn new tricks.
And I just think that they're never gonna love you, Ted. The establishment is never gonna rally.
Yeah. Sorry, real quick, dum-dum. I know this. I'm nitpicking now, but you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Not old dogs don't learn new tricks.
you. Those aren't the right questions to be asking. And this is why the war room is so important. This is why what Marjorie and I are doing today is so important. We have to focus Republicans on Capitol Hill on the operative.
Yeah, a laser focus, and no better lens exists than a shitty little podcast in your living room with a giant bloviated bullshit macho flag in the background.
Questions. And we cannot take the bait or chase the shiny lures away.
Don't chase rabbits. Get to the heart of it.
Absolutely. And the heart of this issue is that you have a national security apparatus and a regime that wants to turn its exquisite powers against a political movement that they fear. And they do so not in defense of democracy, but as an affront to democracy. You see, they were so worried that the truth about this election was going to come out, that we were going to have the...
If they're worried about, quote unquote, the truth of the election, why are they not arresting the other 1,500 people who were in the Capitol that day, or the other 3,000 on the fucking steps? Or Mike Lindell, why is he walking around? It's the same Alex Jones bullshit. I know everything. I've got the documents, the whole country, the world. It's a new world order. They're after me or whatever. I'm absolutely gaining, making shit tons of money every year and getting fatter every year because I've never skipped a dessert the entire time I've been telling you that if they had one chance to kill me, they would. But I'll eat anything put in front of me in a public gathering without even sniffing it because I know full well I'm bullshitting my entire audience. We have the documents, and by that I mean my wife's divorce papers.
As Peter Navarro said, to lay out our case, not with violence, but with affidavits and evidence
for 24
arguments.
12 hours per chamber, 24 hours total on global television.
And a lot of people don't know this, but we had divided into...
Then show up, motherfucker. This is the other part I don't get. They won't let the truth out. They don't want the truth to come out. They don't want the truth. January 6th called you, dumbass. You don't think that'll be on the news? You don't think they'll run it live if Steve Bannon ends up being on there? You don't think he's enough of a media, dog and or pony to have people air what he fucking says? What's the problem? If they don't want to hear, if they're afraid to hear the truth, fucking sit down and say it. Yeah, Jade Helm 15. Yeah, this is Jade Helm 22.
To specifically lay out this evidence over the hours that were constitutionally required for this process to occur. And Marjorie and I...
Bullshit. That's not what you were doing at all. The idea was, it wasn't evidence. You were going to float this bullshit, which you knew was false already because they'd already done recounts in Georgia, for example. And go, but there's still a lot of people that we've been telling not to trust the election. Don't trust the election because we lost and they can't believe they lost. So there you go. So we need to stop all this and just not have a president until we can have the president we want. Yeah, go on Lindell TV, fap around.
Actually, the Michigan team.
Yeah.
We didn't find a whole lot of
Sorry, the Michigan team. You mean Melissa Caroni and Trump farting on Jenna Ellis? That Michigan endeavor? You don't even know. You don't know who these people are. You don't even know. How do you know who these fucking people are? You don't know. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let me ask you a question. How do you know you voted? How do you know your vote is voted? How do you know you're voting? How do I know I'm voting? Maybe I'm voting right now. How do you know you know? Shit.
And energy and courage in the Michigan delegation. And so Marjorie and I stepped up and said, we will look at what happened in Detroit. We will look at the votes not reconciling in Wayne County. We will look at the changes unilaterally.
Yeah, they did that. They looked. You're not even from those fucking states. So again, members of the federal government want to insert themselves, a Georgia House of Representatives member and a Florida one want to tell Michigan that they're doing it wrong. Because the federal government is not supposed to be involved in state elections. Remember?
election law, and we will lay this before America to force positive change. And that was disrupted by violence that I believe saw higher acuity as a consequence of the assets and agents of the federal government. And
yeah, it was the assets and the agents. If it wasn't for the FBI holding the door open for us, if there hadn't been an FBI guy standing in front of the door to the bathroom, a die-hard Trump supporter would not have taken a shit in the Capitol that day or pissed on one of the columns. If they'd have just handed out podiums, a maggot wouldn't have stolen one. Good God. Like, these are the people, they want us to trust them with the reins of the country. And yet their argument is that their followers, the people that support them, that believe in them the most, can be led around by, if you just had an incense that smells like Trump's farts, you could just walk around and they're like, what is that? It smells like home.
Every day that passes where people like Ray Epps, where people like Scaffold Commander aren't called to account, only
Stuart Rhodes.
Stuart Rhodes. Hold on one second. By the way, they brought up that Ray Epps guy. Hold on. This is one of the current, Ray Epps. Ray Epps, the conspiracy claim the attack on the US was a false flag conducted by federal agents hinges largely on the identity of one man. Here we go. Who is Ray Epps? January 5th, 2021, a day before the mob of outgoing. Oh, a day before. So not on the same day. And this was before Trump said, walk down there peacefully and patriotically, but if they don't do what we want, you're going to have to be strong. The day before that day. U.S. Capitol delayed the certification. Then President Joe Biden peacefully the attack on the Capitol involved hundreds of Trump supporters who had become enraged by the false claim that the 2020 election was marred by widespread fraud. Right? Yep. Who is Ray Epps? Epps is the owner of the Naughty Barn, a wedding and event venue in Queen Creek, Arizona. According to the Daily Mail, the 60-year-old man is also a retired U.S. Marine. Epps is also a Trump supporter and appears to have long-running ties to the Oath Keepers, a far-right anti-government militia that formed shortly after the election of former President Barack Obama in 2008. Epps was listed as the president of the Arizona chapter of the Oath Keepers. Was Epps at the Capitol? He told the Arizona Central that he did indeed travel to D.C. for the Stop the Steal rally. A number of photos and videos appear to capture Epps in the area. The night before the attempted coup, for example, a video appears to have Epps telling a crowd to go into the Capitol. I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it tomorrow. We need to go into the Capitol peaceably. Peacefully. We are freedom. We are peaceful. That's what it's about. It's not about hurting people. As Epps makes these remarks, some members of the crowd can be heard in the video chanting Fed. Oh, that he's a Fed or... Yeah, is Epps a federal agent? There is absolutely no evidence to indicate that Epps is a federal agent or that he was working with the government. Claims to that effect are based largely on the fact that Epps was not among those arrested following the attack on the Capitol. I'm sorry. Everybody who says we need to do this but didn't go is a fucking plant from the government. Alex Jones, Roger Stone, Nick Fuentes, all those fuckers, they're coming for you next. Why wasn't Epps arrested? As it's writing in the U.S. Department of Justice and FBI have arrested more than 720 people. Because he didn't actually go into the fucking Capitol. That's why. Because he was a mouth like a bunch of these assholes. As it's writing, U.S. Department of Justice 795 people, the law enforcement was largely focused on individuals who unlawfully entered the Capitol building. Yeah, he didn't go. He's a Fed. Well, and by the way, this is the story. Understand the concept that we're talking about here. This is from one of the live streams. He's saying, we need to go in there tomorrow. And people are yelling, he's a fucking Fed, he's a Fed. So the night before, they weren't buying it. But on January 6th, after Trump said, walk down there and I'm going to walk with you, even though he didn't. You know, it's interesting. Trump also said he was going to walk down there with him. Epps insinuates that he's going to be there as well and isn't, as is Trump. And Trump works for the federal government. Maybe there's something going on. But They knew the night before. All these Trump fans are going, Fed, Fed. Why the fuck did they follow him the next day if the day before they were like, this asshole's trying to get us in trouble? Was there a gullible spray? Did they use that at Trump rallies? That makes sense.
Stuart Rhodes.
Oh, is that his name? Stuart
yeah.
Rhodes?
Well, Stuart
Where's
Rhodes.
Stuart Rhodes, FBI?
Yeah.
Has
Yeah,
anyone talked to him?
Yeah, where is Stuart Rhodes? Who is Stuart Rhodes? Let's see. Stuart Rhodes. Who is this guy who talked to our supporters? Doesn't he realize that Stuart Rhodes, here we go. Investigators contact ex-Oathkeeper featured in ABC's news documentary. Leaked database reveals 100 current former ties to North Bay. Elmer Stuart Rhodes, Oathkeeper. Will the Oathkeepers founders spill on the Jan 6 organizers? You mean this dude? That guy? Stuart Rhodes, the founder of the Oathkeepers, has the power to burn some top right-wing personalities who pissed him off. It's unclear if he'll actually do it. Members of the Oathkeepers, the far-right militia group, which featured prominently during last year's attack on the U.S. Capitol, feel betrayed by the headliners of the protest that day, names like Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, and Ali Alexander. All the folks who also said, go in there, do it. I'll be right behind you. I gotta make a phone call. Let's see. Those organizers' January 6th rally asked the militia to stand guard for them on that fateful day. If that's really the case, it could introduce even more culpability for those GOP figures. But Rhodes hasn't decided whether he'll answer questions at his upcoming testimony before the Jan 6 committee, according to a person familiar with his thinking, or lack thereof. Rhodes was slated to appear before the House panel in a closed-door meeting this week, according to an attorney with direct knowledge of the arrangement. But the testimony was postponed for unclear reasons. If and when Rhodes does appear, though, he could shine a light on a number of key questions for investigators. Rhodes has information about the planning, coordination, intent of the organizers, as well as any impossible preparations for violence. Okay, so by the way, this is yet another thing where the Oath Keepers are a fucking false flag. They're a plant themselves. 3%ers, Oath Keepers, any of the well-known, the Proud Boys, it's all part of a giant psyop by an organization within the CIA, I'm sure. That's where we're getting. Anytime they catch these motherfuckers, they're like, they were always on the other side.
We see him in the D.C. jail.
Yeah,
Can somebody go knock on his door, please?
My expectation is that if we can marshal the...
Wait, by the way, the woman who's trying to get people out of the D.C. jail, who attacked police officers physically, while their friends who helped them attack the police officers have walked free, but they didn't actually do the punching. They just held them down or helped corner the police officers so that they could punch them. Those guys get out, but the people who actually hit them are in jail, and she thinks those people should be released. But this fucker, sight unseen, a sitting congresswoman, is suggesting that a U.S. citizen who has been charged with no crime should be thrown into a D.C. jail without an indictment or grand jury. That doesn't sound draconian, fascistic, or communistic at all.
Focus of Republicans on these operative questions, it will show the American people that the pain that they are suffering right now is a direct consequence of this regime being turned against them.
Okay, I got to go back here. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you got Jay Corman in this huge fight now he sent a letter to McConnell in defense saying, you've got to send these back. I need 10 days to certify if this was done correctly. That was the Commonwealth by not just the Constitution, by the Electoral Count Act of 1877. Okay, he sent it. You guys.
No. You don't get to do that. It's already been certified. The only way they get set back is if they object over everyone else in the fucking state. If the federal government takes over effectively the Pennsylvania election, that's what that asshole was asking for the vice president and Mitch McConnell to subvert the will of the Pennsylvania voter and insist that it become a Trump state when it was not. It had already been certified. They already had electors. We're well past that point in their own state. They sent their electors to Washington. The only way he could subvert the will of the Pennsylvania voter was to get the federal government, the current vice president of the current administration in control of the U.S. government, and the leader of the Senate Majority Leader, to take the right to vote away from all Pennsylvanians and enact a federally mandated version of an outcome. You know, because freedom.
Go through quickly. There was a well thought through plan to spend those 24 hours, 12 hours per chamber concurrently, to go through the details of Arizona, in Georgia, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, the low-hanging fruit, maybe throwing a Nevada in there too.
Right. And you didn't even need all 24 hours to line up troops outside the place and put the National Guard. I'm sure Trump would have patiently waited and told his supporters, just sit outside, torches in hand, get ready. Because if it doesn't go our way in the next 24 hours, because it would all get knocked down, it wasn't going to go anywhere. Pence was just going to go, no, I'm just here to count the votes. Fuck you. You can object all you want. You can spend fucking 2 days doing this. It's not going to change a goddamn thing. And then the whole thing just gets a larger and larger crowd gathering outside with Trump gleefully watching all of his people. God, look at this huge rally of psychopaths that are gathering around. All the people from my rallies just showing up to subvert the will of the majority of the voters in the United States because he can't face a mirror without knowing he's a loser. Gleefully watching them try to destroy the government.
Through the effort that have been done to do that we had the world stage to do that.
Well, here, Steve, this is
the world stage.
No one liked the riot. We've all denounced it. And today is all about Memorial.
Well, yeah, but in all fairness, I didn't like it because it was an attack on our democracy and an affront to democracy itself. And it was a violent attack on police officers, which is fucking disgusting, which is somewhere in the order of like something, oddly enough, I find more upsetting than Tucker Carlson does. How is it that I'm the one that takes this serious, besides the fact that I have Ellie in my family, but just in general, that, you know, literally Tucker Carlson is shrugging about attacks on cops. Yeah, it's not terrorism. It's just attacks on cops. It's just attacks on, it's just about, you know, yeah.
And lifting it up. Democrats don't care about
Marge is, by the way, Marge is mad because it didn't work.
riots. If they cared about riots, they would have stopped the riots in 2020. They use riots for their political goals. So what we did.
Well, you know, Trump was president, and the riots did slowly come to an end after the George Floyd, after charges were filed, after all that stuff. It was definitely directed at that later. By the way, there was a cops program to get rid of people like Derek Chauvin, and Trump got rid of it right about the time he got rid of the pandemic response team. And 2 years to the fucking day, this fuse he lights suddenly blows up in his fucking face.
We worked very hard on Michigan, and then other Republicans were preparing for the other states.
So every state had a delegation.
Every state had a team.
Not even from.
Yeah, everybody had a team. Not the people from those states. Because fuck them. This is the federal government telling other states. This was a version of that AG
They
charge.
had a team, and you guys are going to go.
Yeah,
through.
Jody Heiss was leading the
so
Georgia
gonna-
team.
this is gonna
Scott
be
Perry was
awesome.
leading the Pennsylvania team.
Yeah.
Jim Jordan was going to be the floor manager. So we were
Well, yeah, he was going to be the delegate in charge of looking the other way while they fuck democracy.
approaching this like a trial to be
Yes.
conducted with argument and evidence. That
Which
that
is
was
legal.
the effort. Yeah.
It's legal.
And by the way, what was so frustrating to us is that we had a recalcitrant Department of Justice that was standing in the way of the review of evidence. And a lot of people don't know about this, but there were
By the way, in the months past, they're acting like they're talking on January 7th and apologizing for this as if the last fucking year hasn't happened, as if we haven't been through cyber ninjas, as if we haven't had multiple reviews in Wisconsin that gave Biden more votes. Same thing in Michigan. Same thing in bullshit Pennsylvania and Georgia. As if the phone call that Trump said, find me these votes, didn't come out.
cases that I am personally aware of that U.S. attorneys were fielding around the country where there was evidence of fraud. There was a Democrat supervisor of elections in the state of Florida that was waving their hand saying that there were fraudulent requests for vote-by-mail ballots that were being filled out by these Soros-funded groups. And when those...
Were they? Because I know that there was, let's see. I know that there have been some arrests about voter fraud in Florida lately. Now, granted, They've been in the Villages, you know, the place famous for having its golf cart parade for Donald Trump. They're all Trump voters. They all voted twice. They voted in two different states. This dude, these folks, remember these guys? Yeah. Here's 6 Trump votes. That's what we're staring at right now. We're all staring at 6 Trump voters. 8 if you count this motherfucker. That's right. You do the math. 3 people, 6 Trump votes. 3, okay.
When those cases were being brought to the public integrity section at the United States Department of Justice, it was hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
You're saying the public integrity section shut that down? Shut those
Absolutely.
inquiries down?
I'm saying that from the chief of the public integrity section to the deputy chiefs, they were standing in the way of this. And when I asked
to suppress this.
And when I asked Attorney General Garland, do you have lobbyists and political consultants working in the public integrity section? He said, well, yes, we do. I said, well, can we at least know who they are? If they were lobbyists and Democrat political consultants standing in the way of evidence, can we at least review that? And he said, I won't even give you their names. So this isn't...
Well, yeah, so you can't dox and manipulate them, dummy.